In distant lands, beneath the azure sky, there existed a place called the lovely Butterfly Forest. This forest was so beautiful that even in the most beloved fairy tale books of children, one couldn't imagine it. The trees of the forest were adorned with lush green leaves, each swaying as if telling a different story. Birds sang melodic tunes, while the scent of flowers enveloped the entire forest. The most special inhabitants of this enchanted place were the lovely butterflies. With their colorful wings, they danced in the sky, resembling a colorful painting. Each one had different colors and patterns: purple, blue, yellow, pink. Each color added a different charm to the forest. At the heart of the forest, there was a large and mysterious lake. This lake had an enchanted atmosphere with its crystal clear water. The flowers, lush grass, and moss around the lake were a paradise for the butterflies. Every morning, as the sunlight danced on the surface of the lake, the butterflies would gather here and add joy to their days. The butterflies living in this magical forest had a secret. Each of them was given a special color and pattern by a mysterious flower when they were born. This flower, known as the heart of the forest, was a gift that gave meaning to each butterfly's life. Little Daisy was the most adorable of these butterflies. Her wings were of a delicate white color with small pink dots. Daisy was loved by everyone. She was the first butterfly to discover the heart of the forest. The heart of the forest had given her a special gift, the ability to instantly recognize each of her butterfly friends. One day, as Daisy strolled along the lake's edge, something caught her attention. The light reflecting from the lake intrigued her. Shortly after, she noticed a flickering light under the water. Curiously, she approached the water and discovered a mysterious cave in the depths of the lake. Little Daisy couldn't contain her desire to explore and ventured into the cave. Inside the cave, there was a room filled with emerald lights. And in the middle, there stood a glowing stone. Daisy approached the stone and blew a breath upon it. Suddenly, a fairy emerged from within the stone. This fairy was the guardian of the heart of the forest. She smiled at Daisy and gave her a special task: to maintain the balance of the forest. As the sun once again spread its encouraging light over the lovely butterfly forest, a tension could be felt within the forest. According to whispers carried by the wind, a dangerous entity was approaching the forest. This entity was determined to disrupt the balance of the forest. Its name was the Dark Sorcerer. The Dark Sorcerer was infamous for his dark powers and posed a threat to the peace of the forest. Causing harm to the place where the butterflies lived was a pleasure for him. To thwart the intentions of the Dark Sorcerer, the butterflies needed to find the heart of the forest. Only the power of the heart of the forest could stop the dark powers of the Dark Sorcerer. Daisy bravely decided to undertake this dangerous task. She encouraged her friends and set out together to find the heart of the forest. They journeyed through the lush greenery of the forest. However, they encountered many obstacles along the way. First, they got entangled in giant spider webs. And then they faced snakes, but no obstacle could break the determination of the brave butterflies. They continued onwards without faltering and finally reached the place where the heart of the forest resided. The place where the heart of the forest resided was a cave in the depths of the lake. Daisy and her friends entered the cave and approached the glowing stone. Once again, Daisy blew a breath upon the stone. The guardian fairy of the heart of the forest emerged and assured the butterflies. She told them they needed to fight against the dark sorcerer and bestowed upon them a magical shield. Daisy and her friends bravely emerged from the cave and ventured into the forest. The dark sorcerer awaited them, having seized the forest with his dark powers. However, the butterflies fought fearlessly and, working together, defeated the dark powers of the dark sorcerer. The rays of the sun illuminated the forest once again, celebrating the victory of the butterflies. The heart of the forest thanked the butterflies and rewarded them. Now, the lovely butterfly forest was once again filled with peace and joy. With the victory of the butterflies, the lovely butterfly forest returned to its joyful days. While birds sang their melodious tunes, the scent of flowers enveloped the entire forest. Daisy and her friends were celebrated as heroes. The guardian fairy of the heart of the forest expressed her gratitude to the butterflies. Their courage and unity were invaluable in maintaining the balance of the forest. Therefore, she gave each butterfly a special gift. Daisy received the most special of these gifts, the ability to control the power of the heart of the forest. The lovely butterfly forest was once again filled with joy and happiness. Daisy and her friends embarked on new adventures and explorations together. They were not afraid to face any challenge, knowing that they had each other's support. Every day in the lovely butterfly forest was filled with new adventures and discoveries. Daisy and her friends explored the forest together, supporting each other and sharing magical moments. They made new friends and formed bonds with birds, rabbits, squirrels, and other creatures living in the forest. Each one became part of the great family of the forest, sharing the joy of living together. The guardian fairy of the heart of the forest occasionally visited the butterflies, offering them wise advice. Daisy enjoyed these visits and cherished her conversations with the fairy. The fairy provided Daisy with insights into her future duties and responsibilities, encouraging her to embrace them. In the lovely butterfly forest, friendship and joy always prevailed. Daisy and her friends played games, sang songs, and told stories together. They found happiness in each other's company, enjoying every moment spent together. At sunrise, the butterflies gathered by the lake's edge, welcoming the first light of the day. The reflection of the lake enhanced their dances and songs, creating a magical atmosphere. Each butterfly drew strength from the presence of others, appreciating the joy of being together. The lovely butterfly forest was filled with laughter and happiness. Each butterfly felt safe in the company of others and cherished the joy of living together. Together, they knew they could overcome any challenge and remain committed to protecting their forest from any danger. Would you please like the video and subscribe to my channel?